Next, Team Canada's women's soccer team is looking to Wednesday's game against Colombia after they pulled off an impressive 2-1 win against hometown heroes France. This was a must-win scenario for this team to keep their Olympic dreams alive. And while they came out on top, off the pitch, they are battling distraction as the spying scandal that continues to plague Soccer Canada. Right now, they are facing a punitive 6-point deduction for allegations of spying using drones. Their coach, Bev Priestman, sent home and suspended. Pending an investigation, said she is taking, quote, accountability in what soccer officials are saying is a systemic spying scandal. Even the federal government has stepped in. Now they're withholding some funds from Soccer Canada while this continues. And joining us this morning on what this means for Canadian soccer is Amy Walsh. You'll remember she's a Canadian Olympian, a former women's national soccer team player, and a member of the Canadian Soccer Hall of Fame. Thanks for being with us, Amy.
My pleasure. It's such a treat to be here to talk about the performance and how well these players did yesterday on the pitch. They
really are battling it out. And as we said, distraction, you know, we've got an opponent on the field, but they also have an opponent off the field as well in the form of this distraction. Bev Priestman and her lawyer yesterday releasing a statement saying, as the leader of the team on the field, I want to take accountability. I plan to fully cooperate with the investigation. Where do you believe the responsibility for this scandal lies?
I think it's systemic, as you mentioned, throughout the sport, and it's clearly an issue with Canada Soccer and something that they will have to reckon with. I think they've been dealing with this swiftly, come out strongly in their statements against such practices. And I think as we as Canadians have high standards, even if this is rampant practice throughout world football, I think Canadians, we've deemed it unacceptable, but I think it's important now. I saw that statement from Bev Priestman. I'm glad that she apologized, but this is not about Bev Priestman anymore. I ignored it, essentially. This is about the players now, and what they did yesterday with that emphatic 2-1 gutsy win is they reclaimed that narrative, and they're going to start to write it for themselves now.
I want to ask you about that, Amy, because there still is this pending punitive 6-point deduction at the Olympics, which makes it really challenging, I imagine, for these women to get a win only to have those points taken away.
Well, when that really, really harsh punishment came down, as a former player, I've been feeling nauseated since this all started. So I'm putting myself in their position and what it must feel like to be a player in that camp. But when they were stripped of 6 points, I just thought not only harsh, but it puts them in a position where it's almost impossible to progress. And now they've reclaimed it, where they're completely driving. They're reliant somewhat, I think, at the beginning on other results. But now it's firmly in their hands. They're in control of their destiny. So if they win outright versus Colombia, they can finish second in their group. And that's not the worst case scenario either, because then they play the second place team from Group B, and that is a match that they can win. So I think in that victory yesterday, people were comparing it to the Tokyo gold medal. I think you saw how much it meant to those players and how it was not only about that group and how united they are, and, you know, dealing with betrayal and distrust from the staff, but it was the solidarity, it was the determination and the resilience and their belief in one another. And now they can kind of be on a course to actually defend their gold medal, which is very exciting. And I can't wait to see what they've got for us on Wednesday against Colombia.
We've seen this team as a whole, in particular, some of the members who are there, some are who no longer there, have battled a lot of things, right? They've battled funding issues and pay equity, not to mention just the skill that's needed on the film to succeed. A lot of players like Christine Sinclair, Diana Matheson, you have come out defending the players as you're doing this morning, saying they work hard to succeed on their own merits. Have you spoken with your former Canada players, and what are you hearing from them as they go through these games, not only with this scandal looming overhead, but also just the fierce competition that comes with Olympic play?
I have not spoken to any of them because my last link to the program was with Christine Sinclair, and she retired a few months ago. So I'm part of the old guard, as it were. But like you heard and you saw in the emotion of Vanessa Gilles, who is a center back, who found herself in that 18-yard box and was the one who buried that winner to make it 2-1. You heard her say, this is not what we're about. We are not cheaters. We're a damn good team. And I think they're in a position now to actually do it. So I think, again, it turns the focus back to performance, and they're able to compartmentalize everything that's happening off the pitch. And much like their first one against New Zealand, they've won 2 matches now and they're sitting on 0 points. I've never been more thrilled for a team to be on 0 points. And I think that they feel like that as well. So as long as they keep playing the way they were, because they knocked off the #2 team in the world. France not only are the hosts, but they're no slouches in terms of world football. And for women footballers, in the past, and certainly my generation, but even in this generation, where the game has come along leaps and bounds, there's been an incredible growth, exponential growth of the game in terms of making it professional. But as women footballers, we never have the luxury to just worry about results. And this, to me, is what is so disheartening about this whole thing, that the players, this is not of their own design, this is not of their own doing. It's the ultimate betrayal of people who should have been doing right by them as their staff members.
You're talking about growth. Players like yourself, players like the women that we're watching now, they are all part of Canada Soccer. Ottawa now, we're learning, withholding some funding from Canada Soccer while FIFA is investigating. They said using a drone to surveil another team during a closed practice is cheating. It's completely unfair to Canadian players and to opposing teams. What impact do you think this will have on the programs going forward?
Well, the withholding of funding, I think, is important to be specific there, and it's to the 3 suspended staff members. That's what Sport Canada came forward and said. It's not a withholding of funding for this women's team, the youth programming, or the men's team. But I think you take a hard stance on it because it remains that it was cheating. And it was extremely stupid to do it at an Olympics, where the security is heightened. They spend billions of dollars on it, and it's illegal in French airspace. But the practice itself, even though, as I said at the beginning, is systemic, it's rampant, it's important to take a hard line on it, because I think we as Canadians believe that we are not a type of nation and individuals who are going to win at any cost. And I think yesterday, the victory, the manner in which these women won against all odds, I think starts to sort of reshape that and say we are of character, we are determination and hard work, and that is how we are going to win medals, and that is how we are going to get results.
Amy Walsh, I want to thank you for your perspective and for joining us this morning. Great to have you on.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.